The boos exploded around Stamford Bridge. Enzo Fernandez had barely stepped onto the pitch when his own supporters turned on him. This was not an away crowd. These were Chelsea fans. And suddenly, the nightmare everyone wondered about after the World Cup was no longer a threat. It was happening right in front of him. Saturday, August 15th, 2026, was supposed to be Chelsea's final warm-up before the new Premier League season. Real Sociedad were in London. Xabi Alonso was managing his first match at Stamford Bridge. New signings were being introduced. Chelsea won 3-1. It should have been a celebration. Then the 62nd minute arrived. Reece James was coming off. Enzo Fernandez was coming on. His name came over the public address system, and Stamford Bridge answered. Boos. Loud enough to be heard around the ground. Some Chelsea supporters cheered him. Others immediately made their anger clear. And once Fernandez entered the pitch, the hostility did not simply disappear. Some supporters jeered his touches. Others responded by chanting his name. Chelsea's own stadium had become divided over one Chelsea player. That may be the most important detail of all, because this was not thousands of rival supporters trying to destroy an opposition midfielder. Fernandez was wearing blue. He was playing at home. These were the people he may have to face every week for the next 9 months. And some of them had clearly been waiting to tell him exactly how they felt. The timing could hardly have been worse. Only one day earlier, Chelsea's self-imposed deadline for serious offers for Fernandez had expired. The club valued him at around £120 million. Manchester City had been linked with him. No written offer arrived before Chelsea's Friday deadline. So Fernandez walked back into Stamford Bridge with the transfer uncertainty still hanging over him. Then came the boos. That sequence matters. Chelsea supporters have spent months hearing Fernandez discuss his future. In spring 2026, his public comments about Madrid became so serious that Chelsea punished him internally and removed him from 2 matches after then-manager Liam Rossini said he had crossed a line. There is a difference between transfer speculation created by newspapers and uncertainty created by the player himself. Fernandez had created some of that uncertainty. Chelsea fans remembered. Then came the World Cup. That story has already been told in painful detail. Fernandez scored against England in the semi-final. His celebrations enraged English supporters. Argentina then lost the final to Spain, with Fernandez sent off. There were other controversies surrounding Argentina during that tournament as well. But the important point now is much simpler. He returned to England carrying baggage, and on August 15th, 2026, that baggage followed him through the gates of Stamford Bridge. Perhaps some supporters were angry about the World Cup. Perhaps some were furious about his flirtation with leaving Chelsea. Perhaps for others, it was the combination of everything. There is no way to assign one motive to every person who booed, but the reaction itself is no longer speculation. It happened. And then something even more uncomfortable happened. Chelsea fans began answering Chelsea fans. While one section jeered Fernandez, another section tried to drown them out by singing his name. Think about what that means. Chelsea's problem is no longer simply whether Enzo Fernandez wants to stay. The club now has a player capable of dividing the home crowd before the Premier League season has even started. And Fernandez cannot escape that argument by hiding on the bench forever. Because Chelsea paid £107 million for him in January 2023. He became one of the faces of their project. He has worn the captain's armband. Earlier in 2026, Chelsea supporters were voting him their player of the match after major performances. Now, some of those same stands are producing boos when his name is announced. That is a spectacular change in atmosphere. And while Fernandez was receiving that treatment, another Chelsea midfielder was experiencing the exact opposite side of Stamford Bridge. Morgan Rogers was making his first appearance at the stadium as Chelsea's new record signing. He scored. Fernandez entered to controversy. Rogers entered Chelsea's new era with a goal. That contrast could become extremely important. If you want stories like this investigated after the headlines disappear, subscribe to the World Cup Whistleblower. Because Fernandez being booed was dramatic, what happens next could be much worse. Xabi Alonso now has a football problem wrapped inside a supporter problem. Fernandez did not start against Real Sociedad. That alone does not prove Alonso has dropped him from his plans. It was a pre-season friendly, and Chelsea were preparing an entire squad for the new campaign. But Alonso's system creates competition exactly where Fernandez needs minutes. Moises Caicedo remains one of Chelsea's most important midfielders. Reece James can operate centrally. Romeo Lavia offers another option. Further forward, Alonso has Cole Palmer, Estevao, and now Rogers competing for influential positions. Fernandez is talented enough to play several roles.
The uncomfortable question is whether any of those roles still belong unquestionably to him.
And this is where Saturday's boos become more dangerous than a few angry supporters making noise during a friendly. Imagine Chelsea start winning. Fernandez plays well. The anger may disappear surprisingly quickly. Football supporters forgive plenty when trophies and victories arrive. But imagine the opposite. Chelsea lose. Fernandez gives the ball away. A transfer story appears the following morning. Or City return before the September 1st, 2026 transfer deadline. What happened against Real Sociedad has now created a precedent. Supporters know they can boo him. Fernandez knows they are willing to do it. And everyone inside Stamford Bridge will be listening for what happens the next time his name is announced. Chelsea's Premier League campaign begins against Fulham on August 24th, 2026. That will be different. Points will matter. Pressure will matter. Every mistake will matter. And suddenly, Xabi Alonso faces a decision that has nothing to do with a meaningless summer friendly. Does he start Fernandez and immediately test the relationship between player and supporters? Does he keep him on the bench and risk making the transfer speculation even louder? And what happens if Fernandez walks toward the touchline again and hears exactly the same sound? Because there is another side to this story. Some Chelsea supporters defended him. They cheered. They sang his name. They tried to overpower the boos. Fernandez is clearly not universally hated at Stamford Bridge. That may be his route back. Perform, commit, win matches. Give those supporters something louder to sing about. Football changes quickly. In April 2026, Fernandez was Chelsea's match winner in an FA Cup semi-final and received huge praise for his performance. 4 months later, sections of Stamford Bridge were jeering him. 4 months from now, they could be celebrating him again. Or Saturday could have been the beginning of something far uglier. That is why this friendly mattered. The biggest result was not Chelsea 3, Real Sociedad 1. It was the first real answer to a question that had followed Fernandez back from the World Cup. What would happen when Enzo Fernandez finally stood in front of Chelsea supporters again? Now we know. Some welcomed him, some turned on him, and they were willing to fight each other with their voices over which reaction he deserved. So was this one angry afternoon that Fernandez can silence with football? Or did Stamford Bridge just show Enzo Fernandez that his worst nightmare has only begun?